The Arkham Knight, one of the most controversial spots in the Arkham franchise. A lot of people, when this game came out, criticized this character a lot because it was very obvious who it was, Jason Todd. And I think part of the reason why is because Rocksteady was making it seem like the Arkham Knight was this entirely new character, which technically is true depending on how you twist it, I guess. I mean, the Arkham Knight is a supervillain alias that's new to DC Comics, but Jason isn't, right? So, I don't know. But yeah, people didn't like this character. But I think as Arkham Knight aged, a lot of people started appreciating this game more and more after its initial release. I always see people still playing this game and enjoying the things that were once criticized, like the Batmobile and the Arkham Knight. In regards to the Arkham Knight, though, I honestly thought the Jason Todd way worked. It worked pretty well, in my opinion. With Joker dead and Rocksteady wanting to introduce Jason, they'd obviously have to give him a different story than his comic counterpart because Joker's dead. A huge part of Red Hood's origin is not in the Arkham series anymore. So I think the way they did Jason Todd works as a good plot point in the game. However, it's the execution that was very crucial here, and I still think to this day was just missed. The potential for Arkham Knight being Jason could have worked better, and I'll explain why. I made a short like a couple months ago where I asked who should have been the Arkham Knight, and there were some comments that said Jason was a good pick, and I agree with them. But it's the execution that just didn't work here. So this is what I think they should have done with Arkham Knight. It might be terrible, but for me on paper, it sounds better than what they did. Before I explain that though, I'm going to talk for a bit why the Arkham Knight story we got in the game kind of sucked, because if I don't, there's really no context, and plus I want to talk about it. Really quick, I'm trying to get 100,000 subs by the end of the year. It's a dream of mine. If I can get it, it would mean the world to me. And a lot of people that watch my stuff aren't subs, so please consider doing so if you want to help me get there. And I'm also trying to get 1,000 followers on Twitter, so consider following me on there as well. Links in description. Really appreciate it. Let's keep it pushing. Okay, so why does the Arkham Knight story we get in the game not work, at least for me? Well, let's talk about the way they set it up. They set up the Arkham Knight in a way where they wanted it as a twist. He was the twist to the game. Kind of like the Clayface one in Arkham City. Arkham Knight was supposed to be this big reveal, like, no way is Jason Todd as the Arkham Knight. That's the way I saw it anyway. But the thing is, it just doesn't work as a twist at all due to how predictable it is. The thing is, if you're a DC fan, you would automatically consider Jason Todd to be the Arkham Knight before the game came out because it just makes the most sense, right? So when it happens, you're just like, okay, that was kind of dumb because you knew from the beginning it was Jason. And now it's the end of the game and there's one less surprise for you. And even if you're not a DC fan, it was likely very obvious for you once you went through that Panessa Studios section and played through the Jason Todd torture scenes, because now you're thinking, there's no reason they put this here other than the fact that it's going to play a role later on. I guess he's going to be the Arkham Knight, and it was. So for both sides, DC fans and non-DC fans and everyone in between, I guess, I feel like it was just very obvious. A twist doesn't work when it's really obvious. And I remember it sucked because the anticipation for who the Arkham Knight was exciting. I was thinking it was maybe Azrael, Hush, Bruce Wayne's dad after Ra's al Ghul resurrected him and manipulated him to think Batman's evil, like I thought when the game was coming out. It was really exciting to wonder about who the Arkham Knight was, and you just can't think it's Jason Todd because it would be way too obvious, but nope, it was. Sometimes I feel like he was made to be the Arkham Knight because they needed Arkham in the title. Like Rocksteady was just thinking, how can we title this game with an Arkham name? And made a whole plot line and new alias for an existing character to justify it. That's just what I like to think about, it's just kind of funny. But yes, the Arkham Knight was predictable, but the worst part of it is that all there is to the character is just mystery on who he is and that he hates Batman. There's no real character, no real attachment to him other than us wondering who he is until he reveals himself to be Jason. I feel like he could have been so much more compelling, but instead, they went with the shrouded in mystery route. And he was just kind of in the background and popped in whenever he needed to. But yes, to wrap this part up, the reason people didn't like the Arkham Knight as much was because it felt pointless and very predictable. There was no audible gasp when it was Jason Todd. It was more of a straight face, I could tell from everyone else playing through the game. It sucks because Jason Todd is an amazing character. I just really didn't like how overall predictable it was. Subscribe to my damn channel. Do it. Subscribe. Okay, so how do I think that Rocksteady should have handled the Arkham Knight? So I believe that Jason Todd was a good pick for the Arkham Knight. If that's the route they wanted to go with, then sure, go ahead. However, I think the reveal for the Arkham Knight should have happened in the beginning of the game to Batman, maybe in the Ace Chemicals section where he meets the Arkham Knight. If Batman had found out the Arkham Knight was Jason Todd in the beginning, then the story could have played a much more emotional impact throughout the rest of the game, and I think it would have been so much more interesting. One of the huge problems I had with the Jason Todd reveal personally is that we're left with no development between Batman and Jason. Jason is revealed at the very end of the game, and once he is, he just leaves and doesn't show up until the final mission for like 5 seconds. It sucks. You really have no time for Batman to talk about how Jason's alive and how to sink that all in. Instead, we get no time with Jason to just be Jason Todd. The scene where Batman apologizes to him and tells him that they can fix things together was an amazing scene in this game. But the game understands that that's all we get because there's no more time left. We have to stop Scarecrow and all that. And like I said, what this means is that we get no Jason Todd scenes that could have had so much more badass and memorable moments. I mean, we kinda do like the Jason Todd torture scenes, but that's not what I mean. Remember the Under the Red Hood movie? Of course you do, because it's a classic Batman film. Jason was forcing Batman to shoot and kill Joker, leading to one of the best Batman scenes of all time. It definitely is one of the most notable Batman scenes of all time. It perfectly encapsulates why Batman doesn't kill, and how Jason feels betrayed by Batman, and so on. If Jason was revealed in the beginning of the story in this game, then you could have had moments like that for the rest of the story. You can have Jason, I don't know, just spitballing here, catch Batman, force him to kill a villain, explain to him that killing his enemies is the only way to stop them. Now, of course, he had a plot in the game that's already existing, which is to destroy Gotham and make Batman suffer before he kills him, but I feel they could have had this plotline still work if Jason was revealed, like, it could play out the same. But now you got moments in the game where the emotional aspects can hit so much harder. I think the scene where Batman is reliving the torture of Jason Todd could actually be more emotional if we knew that Arkham Knight was Jason Todd right from the beginning. Maybe our thought process in the game would be more so understanding of Jason, not condoning his actions, but understanding why he feels the way he does. These thoughts are overshadowed by how the game actually is, with Jason being revealed at the end and nobody caring. It sucks. It could have also played a more unique approach to Arkham Knight. Batman having to fight a mental struggle with the Joker inside his mind, and a physical struggle with someone he once thought of as his son trying to kill him, could have made Batman's struggle in this game have so much more impact. And Joker, with all the tormenting he does to Batman, could have had the icing on the cake if he talked about Jason Todd the entire game if he was revealed in the beginning. Could you imagine that? Joker talking about big and small moments Batman and Jason had, maybe have more flashback sequences of Jason being Robin, etc, etc. My point here is, the game had a huge missed opportunity. Having way more emotional moments with Jason throughout the entire story where he talks to Batman, telling him how he failed him and why he deserves the torment he's causing him, would have been so cool to see. We don't get a lot of that in the main game. One of the best audio tapes for me is when he reveals himself to Oracle and after talks to her about how Joker put him through hell.
Jason, this is wrong.
This is justice. He left me.
He lost you, and he mourned for you. Come home.
I can't go back. You don't know what Joker did, Barbara. He hollowed me out and filled me back up with hate and...
Jason, we can fix it.
I can fix it! I know now what to do. I take all this pain, all this blackness, and I put it all in a bullet, and I put it right between Bruce's eyes.
Joker's dead, Jason. You want revenge on the man who hurt you? You've got one shot. Come back to the manor. Let us help you. Don't let Joker win.
How's Alfred?
He misses you. We all do.
The cloudburst is charged, Knight. It's time.
Someone put a gag on her. Anyone hurts her, they're a dead man.
Maybe the story could have played different, having Jason force Batman into situations to break his code, forcing him to kill some villains maybe like Professor Pig. This is all speculation and my preference, but I really enjoy personal, emotional stories. I think Arkham Knight could have had the best of both worlds where Batman has to save Gotham from Scarecrow, and then deal with emotional trauma with finding out Jason Todd's alive. One of the issues with Arkham Knight was the lack of interactions with the Bat family. I don't think there was enough of it in the game, and I feel like other people can agree with that. Having Jason revealed early on can kind of help there, having characters like Alfred and Oracle talk about Jason, their experiences with him. It's a shame. I think this could have been really awesome. We kind of get that with his audio tapes in the game, like the Oracle one I discussed earlier, but aside from that, not much really. And that's a shame because we never get to develop Jason Todd as a character. Once the reveal happens, we barely see him after. We see him become Red Hood in the DLC, but it felt so disconnected because we don't feel that transformation, so to speak. It's just assumed he becomes Red Hood. Having it where we see it develop over the course of the main story, where at first it's revealed he's the Arkham Knight and hates Batman, to him slowly seeing the error of his ways, or Batman explaining to him what happened, I feel it could have played out way better. We could have had so much more development time with the characters. Red Hood is one of the best characters in the Batman mythos and is one of the characters that can force Batman into many unique situations, like testing his no-killing rule, but we don't get any of that. We never see Batman's reaction to Jason killing. We never see Batman and Jason just sit down and talk about their experiences. We never see Jason see the error of his ways. All of that is like off screen. The comics don't really count because the comics aren't canon for the Arkham games. And come on, dude, this is stuff we need to see in game. Like I said, I think the Arkham Knight being Jason Todd is a fine choice. In fact, I think it makes sense. Being tortured in Arkham and using it as an alias, sure, I can buy it, but I think they went wrong with the execution of it all. They could have had it where the Arkham Knight's identity before the game came out was still a mystery, but then just reveal it right off in the beginning. And I think people would have handled that better. That way, we don't waste all this time already knowing who it is without telling us, and that's the big thing here. It's like the game thinks we're stupid and don't know it's Jason Todd. At least that's what I thought. So I think the better route was just to have Jason revealed in the beginning and develop his emotional story with Batman for the rest of the game. I think that could have been so much better. We could have gotten way more Jason Todd. We really didn't need that endgame twist with him revealing himself. I think the ending where Batman's identity is revealed to the world can count as the quote-unquote twist of the game. But yes, that's what I wish Arkham Knight could have been, because Red Hood is one of my favorite characters where you don't see that development in the game. I hate that. He was wasted. Personally, I thought he could have been so much more. Also, just to put it out there, this video was made before the release of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So yeah, just wanted to say that. I'm making this video like a week before that game comes out. So if there's information in that game, then I don't know about it yet. But in Arkham Knight, he was wasted. Sucks. I think what I said sounds like a better alternative on paper. Maybe execution-wise it may not be, but we'll never know because we already have the game. But what do you think? Do you like the way they handled the character? Do you think my way sucks? Do you think I lick doorknobs? Let me know. And as always, any support in the video is always appreciated. Please make sure to subscribe if you enjoy the content and consider following me on Twitter. I'd really appreciate all of that, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe and peace.